Hello, and welcome back. Sorry about the last episode, it got cut off a little quicker than I wanted to. Space on YouTube is not as much as I would like it, or runtime rather. There are a few things I'd like to finish up on with Ultraman, and also a few things I found out since our last meeting. Let's start off with the basics, shall we? There's a few monsters I still want to talk about, starting here with Bemular. Bemular is the first monster to be seen with Ultraman. He also seems to travel in a similar fashion across space, just like him. He's a very reptilian-looking creature, and is still well noted for being the first monster in the series. However, later on in the season, his costume was re-scrapped and used for this little bizarre guy named Gongo. Gongo is a monster that is essentially summoned by the user's mind when possessing a special rock from space. When the person was knocked out by accident over an earthquake, the monster kept coming up and staying on until the user then woke up, to which this is one of the few monsters that was backed down without a finishing fight, and the rock was then shot back into space. For safety reasons, of course. This here is the Ancient Mummy. This is a monster that came out towards the later portion of the season. He has very nice, creepy, glowing eyes, which they do use to some noir effect earlier on in the episode. Upon his death, he accidentally wakes up this monster, the Dodongo. The Dodongo, as you can see, appears to be quite a weird green and golden dragon, and has also gotten enough notice to get action figures, of course. Also giving me a better shot than what most of the image results I can get on Google are. The more popular scene with the Dodongo is Ultraman actually riding on its back while trying to karate chop it in the head, which is to us an amusing effect, but it's a popular scene nonetheless and is quite remembered. Also, Dodongo is quite fondly remembered for not being really much of a monster, more of a confused beast that would cause a lot more damage due to his lack of control. This is Coronia. He is actually a plant monster that was found later on in the series as well. He disguised himself as a human member of a different part of the Science Patrol task force, to which he was found out eventually and went on a rampage. He was found due to the fact that he was behaving strangely, but also the fact that his Science Patrol team was actually destroyed. So in which the team members started investigating, one of them that actually found some evidence was actually temporarily rendered unconscious and kidnapped. See, Bozu here is actually a combination of monsters. It belongs in the monster graveyard, which apparently is somewhere near Earth, caused by all of the deaths of monsters as well as all the other ones that Ultraman has tossed back into space. Sibozu is actually a very lonely creature who only seeks to go back into space. After a few fights, he's finally strapped down to the shuttle that you see here in the picture and shot back into space, where he is apparently much happier. Ultraman is actually the monster shaman that I mentioned earlier, having summoned up about 3 or so previous monsters that were destroyed throughout the series. When these monsters fail him in trying to get rid of Ultraman, He himself goes after Ultraman and uses the feathers on his head as weapons, to which later on Ultraman plucks him, quite literally. Finally, last but not least, is the alien Nephilus. This shiny black-skinned person here is actually a very intelligent alien species, and this one in particular actually appears more than once in the series, as he's actually attacked and escapes back into space. He kidnaps one of the Science Patrol members, using her as a giant monster then, although it's actually more of a hologram that he's using to try and confuse the other members. He has teamed up with many other monsters throughout the series and has made one or two more appearances in of himself, much less other members of his race. Now that's all I really wanted to show you for this time for monsters, just a few more noteworthy ones that I'd like to mention. Now, since I've tried to put up the first in the part of the review up, I found out that apparently Subaru Productions is banning me from making my review on YouTube. The cause of which is most likely due to the fact that recently, in the last year or so, Subaru Productions has actually gotten the rights back from another company that was screwing them over. One might construe this as Subaru Productions being possibly paranoid after just recently regaining the rights of their oldest show, but I think there's something a little bit deeper. I know for a fact that a lot of the shows I watched on YouTube, sometimes when the companies plan to do either something on YouTube or produce a really big fancy box set or something, they usually tend to get, shall we say, nitpickish and start blocking people posting their stuff. At least for a couple months they block people using the exact same show or movie or footage or whatever. I'm honestly thinking that it's quite possible that Subaraya has finally gotten the balls and the money that they are actually going to mass produce their own DVDs and even make them for America. Now this I would declare awesome, but this is only what I think. I hope this is true. I hope either they or someone they can trust will actually finally release the full, real, uncut version, which there is one, for the original Ultraman dub. But in the meantime, who knows? I could go on forever about how horrible the Australian version is and how cheap the American version is and how things have gotten far better in the series since then. But de sera sera, as they say. So that's about it for me right now. See you all. What's all this? Megazord, what's going on? Put it on the screen for me. Ooh, bastard. It's a good thing I kept this on hand. It's time. Transform! Well, I'm certainly glad that's over with. So, until next time, here's some footage of some of the monsters beating up one another. See you later.
俺のかっこいい変身見せてやるからよく見とけ。でかいもんには でかいもんだ。ぶち込め。密かに温めてた必殺技パート3。二つの声重なる時、誰よりも強くなれる。動き出そうぜダブルアクション、今と未来一つに。